Welcome to another edition of a post-race analysis. I'm Keegan Schneider. We're going to break down the Pocono 350 for you, what all happened in the race in case you missed it, and in case you wanted to see what my in-depth analysis was of the race here today, and we'll take a look at how the fantasy team did, as well as the finishing results. So first and foremost, we're going to talk about the opening start of the race. They had the inversion once again, inverting the top 20, and everybody from 21st on back started based off of their finishing positions from the first Pocono race of the weekend for the Cup Series yesterday. So Kurt Busch ended up starting up at the front of the field and took off. Led every single lap of stage one, despite the fact that we had a couple restarts, one due to a rain delay after 4 laps of green flag racing, one about halfway through the stage when Michael McDowell completely lost control. Looked like he might have had a tire go down because of hitting the wall on the front straightaway a lap or two before that. Tire finally got cut down, hard hit into the outside wall, driver's side first. He was okay, walked away from the car after that crash on the tunnel turn. So again, Kurt Busch went on to win stage one. Ryan Blaney hopped out to an early lead in stage two, finally breaking the clean air there. Looked like he was trying to get that inside to work on the restart so many times that Kurt Busch couldn't get it. Finally got it done, but varying pit strategy started to begin right at the end of stage number one there. You had some guys that were coming down onto pit road. Denny Hamlin was one of them, and he played the exact same strategy he played yesterday. We'll go further into detail on that in a little bit, but Ryan Blaney in a wreck-filled stage 2 was able to keep the lead for a lot longer than what he probably should have, but there were so many cautions here. I mean, we start off, Christopher Bell went for a spin off of turn 2, backed it into the wall. He just flat out lost control. Also, I'm trying to think what else happened. Oh yeah, Ryan Preece went for a spin off of turn 2 as well. A lot of the accidents were turn 2 related. He went for an accident. Bubba Wallace barely missed him to the inside. That was actually the Fox's tied clean pass of the race today. I thought that was pretty funny, but a very, very near miss, bouncing up on the apron of the racetrack near the inside wall. Great control of the car from Bubba Wallace, and Ryan Preece, his day pretty much ended right after that. And then another accident, of course, one that will probably be talked about throughout the course of the week between two of the drivers in the top 10 of the point standings, one of which involving one of the regular season championship contenders and the guy arguably on the hottest streak coming into Pocono today, Ryan Blaney, and then Kyle Busch, guy seeking his first win of the season this year. It was Blaney's fault. I'll go out there. I'm a Blaney fan, as you see. I wears gear every week, but it was Ryan Blaney's fault. There was a lap car that was in the way of Kyle Busch. Kyle Busch obviously was not running as fast of a pace through turn 2, so he could get underneath the car. Ryan Blaney just completely misjudged the exit of the corner, clipped Kyle Busch in the left rear tire, and spun down into the infield wall. Made hard contact. He was okay, walked away from it. Everything was all right, except for his feelings were hurt because, again, 14 races into the season now, and 15 now after both these races. So 15 races into the regular season. Kyle Busch has 0 wins. That is just insane. So yeah, tough break there for Kyle Busch, to say the least. He was on my fantasy team too. It sucks that 2 guys on my fantasy team got together, and after Christopher Bell being out, I had to put Bell in for Kyle Busch because that was right at the end of the second stage. Brad Keselowski ended up getting the restart on Aric Almirola, despite Almirola controlling the pace on the restart. Much like Blaney did earlier, he controlled that line on the inside and was able to get to the lead. Keselowski went on to win stage 2. Into the final stage is where the pit strategy finalized, and we did get this race in. There was a possible darkness issue, and I was worried that if they were going to have a wreckfest like they did in stage 2, that they were not going to get the race in. I think they might have been able to get one caution in, and that would have been about it because it was about 8:40 Eastern Standard Time. They were a couple minutes after sunset, but they still had a little bit of daylight in there for about another 20 minutes or so. But they barely ended up getting the race in. So it ran green all the way through stage 3. Again, the varying pit strategies ended up playing out. Denny Hamlin with the same pit strategy he played the day before, but instead he was able to control his track position in the lead a lot better than what he did the day prior when he was running in second and trying to catch Kevin Harvick. Hamlin looked like he probably had a faster car than Harvick in general anyway, when both were in clean air. They're even. If they weren't even, Hamlin was gaining, or I should say pulling away from Harvick. So Denny Hamlin ended up pretty much dominating the rest of the race. That's what it came down to, the pit strategy. And they were talking about Hamlin possibly taking a gas and go, and I didn't know if that was going to work out or not, because I thought that Harvick 30 seconds back, he would still be able to reel him in. They took 2 tires, not even a gas and go. They took 2 right side tires and still came out about 2 seconds ahead of Harvick and managed that 2-second gap for the final 20 laps of the race. So Denny Hamlin went on to win this one. Harvick in second, role reversal of what had happened there. Ryan Blaney, again, he was running in the top 5 all day long and was actually in 5th, or would have cycled into 5th once the rest of the leaders pit. For some odd reason, he came onto pit road. Anybody in the comment section want to explain to me how that came to be? Fox never reported on it until Jeff Gordon said something about he was about to go a lap down, like right in front of Hamlin, and I saw he was in 27th. And in fact, he was already a lap down, about to go 2 laps down. So he finished 2 laps down, got back up to 22nd at the end of the race. But again, I don't know exactly how that ended up coming to be. As a Blaney fan, that kind of sucks, because now we're probably about 50 points behind Harvick. But yeah, Harvick, a strong contender. And it just comes back down to it, even though Blaney and Elliott coming into the weekend, in my opinion, were the 2 hottest drivers. Elliott still got the top 5 today. Blaney did not get the finishes he deserved. He got a lot of stage points in both races, was in the top 5 consistently both races. Strategy did not play out on Saturday, and here today, unfortunately, he got into some sort of an issue late in the race. Again, not sure exactly what it was. It could have been a tire rub, because he did have a little bit of damage on the right front after the contact with Kyle Busch earlier. If he would have had a tire rub, you would have thought it would have happened 50 laps sooner when the issue had occurred. But whatever the case was, a tough break for him. Aric Almirola with his 4th straight top 5. That's a career high. He finished in 5th. So honestly, he's on a quiet but hot streak as well. So look out for Aric Almirola here if we go into tracks that are within his wheelhouse. Pocono was definitely one of those tracks here this weekend. He took full advantage of it. But yeah, championship favorites right now look like Denny Hamlin, Kevin Harvick. They got the 2 most wins on the year. Hamlin with 4 wins now in the first 14 races. Harvick with 3. And then you got guys like, Keselowski, Logano. They have a couple wins too, but they're not nearly as consistent as what Hamlin and Harvick have been this year. So now let's roll into the finishing results and how the fantasy team did today. So here are the finishing results to the Pocono 350 here today. Denny Hamlin with a first place finish, Kevin Harvick in second, Erik Jones third, Chase Elliott fourth, Aric Almirola rounds at the top 5. 4 straight top 5 for Aric Almirola. They said that was a career best. Matt Benedetto, but with a quiet but sneaky 6th place finish. William Byron ended up in the top 10 and 7th, Clint Boyer 8th, and Alex Bowman 9th. They were battling door to door off of turn 3 to the start finish line. It looked like Bowman tried his best to keep it off of Boyer, and then they ended up, Boyer just slammed doors with him. Every point matters at this point in the season, I guess. Second half of the regular season is upon us, and Martin Truex Jr. rounds out the top 10 with his late pit strategy as well. Keselowski ended up having to top off of fuel. He was in third, of course, came down at the very end of the race, so that costed him a top 10 finish here today. Really no one else. Kurt Busch, of course, won stage 1, was dominating early, but lost that clean air in the track position. I couldn't do much else after that. Ryan Blaney, again, yeah, I don't know exactly what happened to him. They never even specified on Fox, but he ended up falling back to 22nd. Logano, with that pit road penalty, fell back to 24th. He was running in the top 10 as well. And your DNFs, of course, throughout this race today, Kyle Busch, Christopher Bell, and Michael McDowell. But, of course, Chris Buescher, I believe Buescher got in an accident. Buescher got in an accident. Tyler Reddick got in an accident today. So they finished towards the back. Tough stretch here. These last 3 races for Reddick. Even though he got the stage win at Talladega, he just hasn't gotten the finishes within the last 3 races now. So let's hop on in and see how the fantasy team did. So a mediocre week for the fantasy team here. As I stated, Christopher Bell got in that accident, so he only scored 9 points. And because Kyle Busch ended up getting an accident after getting turned off the front bumper of Ryan Blaney's car a little earlier in the race, I was at least able to put him into the garage. Every point matters. So I got 9 points out of Bell versus Kyle Busch would have had 3 because Christopher Bell had a lot of stage points in stage number 1 today, finishing 3rd there. So comparatively Kyle Busch, plus it does save at least I could use Kyle Busch another 4 times still, so I didn't actually use him today, and Christopher Bell still got 9 usages, so don't plan on using up all of his. Aric Almirola, again, top 5. I had 3 guys in the top 5. And Blaney was actually in 5th place. Almirola was 6th, but Blaney, again, had that issue late, whatever it was. Not sure exactly what it was. So that's a tough break there. I hate to have a usage like that. So we're going to check at the driver scoring. Yeah, again, so I had first and then 2 guys tied for 3rd in the points for today. Matt DiBenedetto, quite sneaky day. He's had a lot of those top 10 finishes this year where he hasn't been talked about a lot, but he's getting top 10s. And Blaney, of course, 17th on the scoring list. And yeah, Christopher Bell was back in 28th. So, and then for the NASCAR Weekly Podcast League, 23rd. So not a great run for me today. It wasn't too terrible. And honestly, if Kyle Busch didn't get spun there and Blaney didn't have an issue of some sort there at the end of the race, obviously, then you could say all 5 of my guys would have finished inside the top 7 probably. So I was that close to having a really solid day, regardless of the Christopher Bell spin earlier on. So that's going to wrap it up for this one. Comment down below what were your thoughts on the second Pocono race today. I'll have more predictions and post-race analysis for next weekend's race at the Brickyard 400. So we go from no races last week because the Talladega race got rained out to Monday to 3 this week to only 1 next week. But we'll be back. I'll be back for more. And again, hopefully you enjoyed. Hit the like button down below and hit the subscribe button for more daily NASCAR content such as videos like this. And I will see you guys in the next one.